So another day, got back to working on the handbrake. So I went through and welded it up. As you see, I couldn't put any weld in there because there's no room with the nut. But I did put weld on the back side and around the bottom side, and then essentially just shaved them back down flat so that it would still be able to sit flat. So I tightened down these two nuts here, and it seems pretty sturdy. And these are gonna be probably bolted to the chassis. So I feel like this should be plenty strong enough, like it's not gonna flex at all, but we'll see. If not, I'll come back and add some bracing to it. I'm also going to try to test fit it in the car and see where I am height-wise, because if I can, adding a plate to the bottom that ties these two like wing halves together would stiffen this up a ton. But right now it's basically two halves, like two completely separate halves. And so there is a possibility for it to kind of twist, like when you pull on the handbrake, like left to right. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to stick it in the car. I'll have to pull out my dash bar, as I have to cut this center beam out on the dash bar, and then I kind of move some of that wiring out of the way, and then I'll be able to test fit it, like dry test fit it, then test fit it with the dash in place, and then with like the radio bezel, like slowly, like just to add pieces to it, to see how we can get it to fit in, how well we can get it to go together. We'll see. All right, so I've got the dash back in to start mocking stuff up. Put the new Raspberry Pi dash that I got from Jared in here. So that's gonna be the new like set of gauges and everything for the car. I've cut that brace out of the back side here. I feel like I showed you in the last clip what that looked like. So I guess the question now is, did I make the handbrake in a way that would fit underneath the dash here, kind of in this spot? It's kind of the goal. I want to make sure to not get rid of that there. So I think there's only 3 clips that take this tombstone piece in. There's one here, and then 2 up here, and that's it. That holds that together. So I don't want to get rid of those. So the idea would be to only have to cut from here, basically between here and here. But I got to make sure that the handbrake itself fits under there. So it looks like it would. It may be close. I'll have to take some measurements before I start cutting. We'll see. So, slight detour from the handbrake stuff, since the handbrake stuff's not finished quite yet. But we've got the new KBD kit in. So if you guys haven't seen it, this is what a KBD kit for a Miata looks like when we first get it. It's basically into 3 pieces: rear bumper, front bumper, and then I assume that's 2 side skirts in there. So we need to get some heat into these to reform them back into an actual shape, but we won't be able to do that right now outside, just due to the fact that it's like 50 degrees outside. So we're gonna go over to my buddy's house, who has like a bullet heater, so we can just like hammer on it with a bullet heater, and that should bring it back into shape pretty quickly. So let's get on to that. I'm gonna bring it over there. So I'm just gonna update this because I am not sure what the last thing I filmed was. So, okay, so we got this whole big winged nonsense that we have to fit basically right there. Based off everything I've done, the clevis here needs to be either right over the bolt or just to the side of this bolt here. So with the way that this radius is there, I can't really use that bolt as a mounting spot, and then I inherently have to be over it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just start clearancing this all out. So basically cut a 45 in here, go all the way back through here so that there's clearance there. Get it so that it'll actually sit down on that side. Then I have to do a similar setup here, cut that through, and I'm basically gonna cut it enough to get it to fit. And then I'll do some tests, probably on some extra pieces to make sure that this is still strong enough. Because one of my fears is that if I keep cutting away at this, I'm gonna pull on the handbrake one day and it's just gonna flex all this stuff instead of actually pushing in the cylinder. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna mark it up and just start hacking at it, unfortunately. So it should turn out cool. Guys, so a whole lot has changed since the last update. I felt like I was just doing a bunch of like, here's an update video as I was trying to figure this out, and it was taking me quite a bit of time to like figure out what was the best place to put everything and how to best do it. So this is what I've kind of come up with. So I've heavily trimmed the bracket because where I wanted it to sit was basically right over this bolt. Can it focus? There it goes. It needs to sit basically right over top of this bolt, which became a little bit of an issue because obviously like the L channel went right over there. Second issue was height-wise. It was basically sitting on this back support plate, which with everything cut out of the dash, that's kind of the only thing holding that dash bar down. So I didn't really want to cut that too much. I did have to notch it, but I tried to notch it as little as possible. And so to space it up, I basically put that 3/16 plate down, and then it's rib nutted into the chassis with these M8 rib nuts. I'm hoping that will be enough in order to be like pretty secure. I'm gonna end up welding the bracket to this bottom plate here, and then it'll just be 4 bolts to attach that whole assembly. But yeah, you can see how I had to heavily trim this area back, and I may even trim more because it's right now just barely touching the dash right there. And with the dash not really in the right place, I need to gain a little bit of clearance. So I'm probably gonna come back and slice that off, but it's gonna get welded under here to this bottom plate. This is gonna be welded all around here. And then that should give me about the perfect position. So if I stick the tombstone in here, doing this with the, okay. And then it should fit basically just like that. So it had to trim that all out, but it just barely cleared. Sorry, I hit a button, but yeah, it should just barely clear that bolt, which is perfect. It will be kind of a pain. I'll have to pop this the tombstone out if I ever want to pull the engine. Have to unbolt that. No, surprised. Oh, never mind. I know why that's loose. But yeah, so that'll be kind of a pain, but it's kind of in the right position. It kind of clears here. I may have to go up to you know, this is a 625 master. I may have to jump up to a 0.75 master to deal with this extra stroke to make it a little bit stiffer and not go as far. I'm thinking a 0.75 is probably the right size master I need anyway, so I may go ahead and just order that. But so far, I think this is pretty good. I'll just need to weld that all out. yeah, just got to weld it out and then give it a lick of paint, and we'll have, well, it'll be mounted. I need to figure out what I'm going to do for lines. I have an idea that should be pretty trick, but still working on that. But cool. But I'm going to go, I don't know how many things are in this video at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and call it a day on this video and end it. If you made it through this far, I thank you for watching. This should be pretty far in the future. I've been trying to catch up on all the drift event videos since I was probably 6 months behind on that. So tons of actual like driving footage, which I mean I prefer that over watching somebody build stuff, but that's just me personally. But yeah, so I look forward to that, and yeah, thanks everyone for watching. More stuff to come, you know, all the lines for the handbrake stuff. I've got my kit in. I think I put some clips of the kit kind of unraveling, but we're gonna get that to Cody to get it painted. So he's gonna be doing that paint stuff soon. Setting up the Raspberry Pi dash, setting this thing off for the roll cage. That's pretty exciting. So that should be happening really, really soon. So everything's just going to start coming together like super quickly, I think. So super excited for that. All right, see you next time.